All right, guys, a couple real quick updates on Project Hellstang. So it's been a while since I've done anything to this car, made any upload videos, but one thing that I just did recently that I actually didn't post up on YouTube is we ended up swapping out these front tires. So I've had these 17 by 7 Jegs wheels for the past couple years since we first built the car, but I was running like a 205 50 17, just some kind of like high performance summer tire. And I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like how wide the wheel was. So I ended up finding a deal on a used set of 17 by 4.5 wheels. And they also have some Mickey Thompson, I don't know, like a 185 50 17 or something. So much narrower look that I was really happy about. It's actually the look I wanted originally, but the problem was the Mickey Thompson tires are just too expensive, right? So I didn't want to spend the money, and that's why I went with 17 by 7s with some cheaper tires. But I ended up finding this set used on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy sold me the wheels and the tires with 50 miles on the whole setup for $400. So it was super cheap. I mean, it was like, I think just one of the tires is about $300 each, right? Or $276 plus tax or something. So smoking deal. And then I'm just going to sell my 17 by 7 wheels with the tires. They only have about 1,000 miles on them. So I'm going to post those up for sale. If you're interested, hit me up in the comments. The other thing we're doing today is I also wanted to upgrade the tires in the back. And so in the back on this car, we've got a 275 50 15-inch tire. So this is a 26-inch tall tire. This is about the same total height as a stock Mustang tire, you know, the 17s that came. Now you can see we've got still the stock springs in the back here, so the car is, you know, still stock ride height. And you can see, I mean, you got a whole fist in there. It's huge, right? They just don't fill the wheel well up. So I should have gone with a 275 60 15 from the beginning, which is a 28-inch tall tire, and that's going to fill it up. It's going to look a lot cooler. So I've been wanting to do this for a long time. So I was going to buy a brand new set. These are Nitto NT555R2s. Drag radials, these things have been pretty awesome. I haven't really like put them to the test on a drag strip, but for just cruising around the last 1,000, 1,200 miles, they've been great, good in the rain, all that kind of stuff. So I was going to buy a new set of these, and I think I found them for about $216 a piece online, but I was going to pull the trigger, and then lo and behold, Facebook Marketplace came through, and I ended up finding a deal on a set of Mickey Thompson ET Streets in a 275 60 15. Now those tires are like $330 each, right? So they're pretty expensive. So I found a used set that had, I don't know, 20 passes on them. So they've still got a lot of life left, but the guy sold me the pair for $230. So pretty freaking awesome. At least that way I'm going to be able to go and get this swapped out today, and then we'll be able to see what it looks like. The plan for this winter on this car is to pull this whole rear end out. I've got all new shocks for it, new springs, new suspension pieces, a whole bunch of stuff, right? We're also going to pull the rear end out and then do new gears. So I'm going to go with 430 gears, which should be good with the newer 28-inch tall tire. I've got a whole bunch of stuff, right? A whole pile of parts that we're going to put in the back of this Mustang. So it's kind of the last thing left. We're also going to upgrade the fuel system over the next few weeks. So if you guys have been following, the car has a 525 pump in the back, and it's got 80-pound injectors on the engine, but I left the stock fuel lines, and the problem we're running into is it's dumping the fuel pressure once we start to get under boost. They'll stock, 1/4-inch return line and 5/16 feed. It's just too small. So I'm going to upgrade that. We're going to do, I think I bought 10 AN lines for the feed, 8 AN on the return, which is totally going to be overkill. But in the future, if this motor blows up and we ended up, putting in something else, an LS motor, or we do a 351 swap, 408, anything like that, and I want to go up to 800, 900 horsepower, that fuel system will be already built, right? So my kind of idea was, let's just build it once, let's make it overkill, and then we don't have to do it again. Plus, it's only marginally more expensive to go 10 AN, 8 AN versus 8 AN, 6 AN. You're already going to be doing it. It's not that much more expensive. So that's what we're going to do. Now, like I mentioned, I've been driving the car for the last, I would say I don't want to say all summer. I don't think I even pulled this thing out of the garage till August of this year, but definitely August, September, October. I was able to drive the car, enjoy it. The only issue we had, I did a video on where we did have one of the radiator hoses exploded. We fixed that. Otherwise, the car's driving, running really well. It just has that issue with that fuel pressure dropping that we need to get fixed. And then once that's fixed over this winter, come spring, we can get this thing back on the dyno and actually get some full power pulls and get this thing, make sure it's fully tuned, maybe even turn the boost up a little bit. I'd like to be somewhere 400 minimum, but maybe even do a tune up to 500, and we could have a couple different tunes to swap in for racing and then just cruising around. All right, with the wheel off, you can see it's nice and clean, but we've got our work cut out for us. So we've got some new Lakewood drag shocks that'll go in the back here. I've got some metal block springs that I think are like a 1 inch or 1.5 inch lowering. We'll see if we even need it. And then I've got new brakes, of course. We'll paint the calipers. I think I painted, the blue ones I painted blue, or the front ones I painted blue. So we'll do that. So, and again, whole bunch of stuff. We're gonna get this whole rear end out of here because it's gonna be way easier to pull out the the guts and swap in the new gears and the pinion, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then we'll probably have to. I don't remember. I bought some kind of suspension system. I can't even tell you what it is, but I think we're gonna eliminate the quad shocks. So we'll get those out of there. Yeah, so lots to do this winter for sure. So got our old wheel off here. So you can see it's got a nice, pretty nice tread pattern on this Nitto, where the new Mickey Thompson one, I mean, it's got like a couple little indents. Otherwise, it almost just, it looks more like a slick. It's so we'll see how it is on the street. But again, for a couple $100, even if I just run them this one summer, I think that'll be just fine. And then we can always buy the Nittos, next season. All right, I'm gonna get to the tire store and then we'll see what we got with the new ones swapped on. All right, now it took the tire store a few days to get these mounted and balanced, but it's all done. Let's have a look. All right, here is our new new to us, right? ET Streets all mounted up, 275, 60, 15. And here's our old tire, our Nitto. So again, this one's 275, 50. So you can see kind of the difference here in the size, right? So just kind of get an idea of, how much taller and a bit bigger diameter. Wow, it actually, even though they're both 275s, the Mickey Thompson certainly looks a bit wider. Probably just the way the sidewall looks like it kind of bubbles out more. So anyway, cool. I'm super stoked. I cannot wait to get this mounted up and let's see how it looks. Look at this, guys. So with the car still in the air with the suspension drooped down, I mean, it is still like just filling this whole wheel well up. So I really hope we got enough clearance for this bad boy once it goes down. It's gonna look sweet. All right, let's get it on the ground. All right, fellas, there we have it. 275 60s. Looks pretty sweet. Definitely more the look with the, the fat tire, the bigs and the littles, more the look I was initially going for. So super stoked. Kind of just like I thought. I mean, it looks like maybe it could be lowered a little bit more, but it definitely took up a lot of that wheel well. I don't want this thing to be, too slammed, right? Because I want to use this thing for drag and drive events, power tour, stuff like that. So when the trunk is loaded down with a bunch of tools and stuff, I want to make sure we still have clearance. So that's why I wanted to get this done before we go ahead and pull this whole rear end out. That's going to be the next thing we do. Get this whole thing out of there, and then we're going to swap all the suspension, the shocks, the springs, everything. So I wanted to find out, do I keep stock springs, or I have, I think, an Edelbrock set, and that'll lower us a little bit, but I don't know, man. There's only about 3 fingers. So I don't know if we want to go much more than that. Once you're kind of in there and loaded down, you know what I mean? It'll be pushing it down. So that might be cool. Certainly looks a lot better. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is kind of how this sticks out a bit, right? So, I mean, that's just offset of the wheel, but if it was tucked in a little bit more, I'd be a little bit happier, but I guess just, you know, that is what it is, right? Just here's kind of another look of the 275/60 from the front. So from the front, to me, it looks like perfect, actually. Like, it doesn't really look like it sticks out from this way, and looks nice. So yeah, it's hard to tell just being in this kind of cramped, you know, little garage, but I mean, from the back, it looks cool. Some big old mates. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you guys subscribe because I am going to be doing this winter a whole bunch more videos on this Mustang. Like I said, we've got to upgrade the metal fuel lines. We're going to go to -10, -8AN is the plan. We've got to pull this whole rear end out. We're going to do 430 gears. So I'm going to do that all myself. We're going to give it a shot. It's going to be the first time I've ever done that. Full suspension I've got. I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff we're going to do. So should be pretty cool. And then those are kind of the last things to do to this car. We should be able to hop on the dyno come spring, get this thing finally fully dyno tuned, get our air conditioning recharged, and be ready to hopefully cruise and do a bunch of events next year.